Today I'm asking all of you, who hates Jacob Zuma? And unfortunately, I can't see the hands being raised or not, but from a white person's perspective and Afrikaner, so-called Afrikaner Boer, I call myself actually a Boer, those who follow me, and I know that many of us don't like him. And when do we get the information? Well, we get the information from the all-reliable mainstream media. And yes, when News 24 says that Jacob Zuma is a criminal and just because he was sent to prison, then we all believe him. News 24 has never told any lies whatsoever. That's what most Afrikaner white people believe. But in South Africa, most people believe they know what happened to Jacob Zuma. They believe he defied the law, that he was convicted, that the Constitutional Court locked him up, and that was that. But almost nobody knows the other side of the story. A story that was hidden, a story the media refused to tell, a story that brings together black and white ANC critics and supporters to fight for something much bigger than a single politician. The right of every citizen to know the truth.
Now listen to how we the people were lied to by basically everyone we are supposed to trust. Our president, the Electoral Commission, the mainstream media, and worst of all, our very own respectable Constitutional Court.
Good day, liberators and fellow South Africans and people of the world. Finally, we have been given the green light to make the decision of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights public. This is a decision that has been taken by the Commission way back in March 2024, just shortly before the national elections. And I will get to what happened just before the national elections. For you who have been following the work of Liberty Fighters Network, I am the representative for former President Jacob Zuma before the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. That is in connection with his imprisonment sentence, where he was found guilty of contempt of court by the Constitutional Court of South Africa and sentenced to 15 months imprisonment. I've explained myself and Liberty Fighters Network numerous occasions why we are representing him, not only because his case of the 29th of June 2021 and our Supreme Court of Appeal matter 2 days later were connected by way of judgments, and it was imperative for us to challenge his case because in the same event we would have also challenged our own case as well. So and then the other thing is that we always believed that there was more to the story of Jacob Zuma. He had been villainized by the mainstream media of South Africa. And during the course of the African Commission proceedings, I've been given documentation, court documents, under oath documents, which shows and paints a total different picture than what the mainstream media in South Africa has repeatedly told the people. When you go to the actual court documents and the affidavits, you will realize that Jacob Zuma is not this evil person. He followed the correct procedures, and unfortunately it was the government and regrettably the courts who made it difficult for him. So what happened in this case? The commission determined, and listen to this people, 8 commissioners of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights have unanimously agreed that Jacob Zuma has a prima facie case against the South African government that his rights were violated by the Constitutional Court of South Africa by sentencing him to 50 months imprisonment. I repeat, the commission, a full commission of 8 commissioners, have considered the case. It was me on the one side representing him, and it's the legal team, the extensive legal team, the black-coated legal team that I love so much, the fraternity, the legal fraternity, were heads on heads, had to submit submissions to the commission, and the commission found that there's a real reasonable case that Jacob Zuma's rights have been violated, and they've decided to continue with the investigation. So what does this mean to the people of South Africa? This means quite a lot, and let me just go to this decision that I'm going to publish on our website for everyone to have access to, and you can have your own opinion, and I will show you what happened subsequently. Okay, so let me just quickly go to this case. Here you'll see that this is the African Commission on Human People's Rights. This is the communication. Jacob Zuma versus South Africa. There's the chairperson and the executive who signed it, and then it goes on, paragraph 1. The Secretariat of the African Commission on Human People's Rights, the Secretariat received a complaint on 19 January 2022 from Mr. Reyno De Beer, the complainant, on behalf of Jacob Zuma, the victim, against the Republic of South Africa, the respondent state party to the African Charter on Human People's Rights, the African Charter. Okay, there's the proof. I am his representative, and what is important here is that this complaint was lodged way back on the 19th of January 2022, 3 years, more than 3 years ago. What did the mainstream media tell you about this case that was going on an international level? How many times have you heard about this case in our media and that it was discussed, the progress thereof, etc., etc.? How many times? I can give you the answer: 0. No media have reported on this. In fact, we've lodged a complaint against the media in South Africa with the Human Rights Commission in SA Human Rights Commission. Once they realized what effects this issue would have, meaning that somehow, and we believe that it is through the National Editors Forum, that the news is being controlled. It's being prevented that you as a citizen of South Africa knows what is going on in your own country, because the media in South Africa has conspired to keep this information, notwithstanding that they have been made aware of this time and time again. They chose that you did not have the right as citizens of South Africa to know about this process. Let me just continue and show you what the decision was. Now, in paragraph 36 of this decision specifically, it says that in the present communication, the Commission observes that the subject matter of the communication relates to the violation of rights protected in the African Charter, such as the contention that the victim, that's Jacob Zuma, was not provided with an option to appeal the sentence. The procedure resulting in the sentence was issued in his absence, in addition to the fact that the court did not have the required jurisdiction. Accordingly, the Commission is satisfied that a prima facie case exists in the present communication. There you've got it. The Commission decided that upon realizing what the issues for, or the complaint is, they've compared it to the case of South Africa, the respondent, and then they came up to say that based on the submissions between those received for Jacob Zuma and those received for the state, for the Republic of South Africa, headed by Advocate Stemmet, he's or was at that stage the acting head state law advisor of South Africa, decided that eventually, there's the decision, let me show you, that the Commission, that the communication admissible as it complies with all the admissibility requirements provided for in Article 56 of the Charter, orders the notification of the decision to the parties and the continuation of the procedure at the merit stage. And there's the date when that was adopted during the 78th ordinary session held virtually from 20 February to 8 March 2024. So this was the decision. So we're continuing with the merits of the case. We've already finalized our submissions and we've also submitted our rejoinder for Mr. Zuma. So the decision, they must now proceed to take a decision on the merits of the case, which is expected a bit later this year. And then it must, just like this one, while we've waited, it had to have been adopted and confirmed by the Assembly of Heads of States and Organs of the African Union. This was adopted and confirmed. And we have only been recently notified that we can now formally, it's fine, we don't have to keep this secret anymore, so we can make this public. So what has happened in particular and why this is so important? Besides the fact that there was a total blackout in the media, that the media has conspired, all the media houses, all of them, and it can only have been via the National Editors Forum. The National Editors Forum have decided that it's important that this news may not get out to the people of South Africa. But the critical part here is what, if you can still recall, that there was a Jacob Zuma had to appear before the Constitutional Court, that the Electoral Court said that he could stand as a candidate for the elections, and that and they found that he may, but then the IEC, the Electoral Commission, asked the Constitutional Court, they appealed the matter to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court then found that he was inadmissible. He may not stand as a candidate because he had a criminal record. But what happened was that in March, just shortly after March, we've received this decision, but then we may not have, it was not allowed to make this known. So then when the case came before the Constitutional Court, I personally wrote to Chief Justice Zondo. I've made him known of the existence of this decision and that there's a prima facie case that the Constitutional Court erred in finding Jacob Zuma guilty of contempt of court, and that it was not aligned to the African Charter, and that their own decision is currently being reviewed. And although a decision by the Commission, the African Commission, cannot automatically change this decision, one must then come back after they've made a decision finally that Mr. Jacob Zuma's rights have been violated. We must effectively come back to the Constitutional Court and ask for a rescission of that judgment, that they were wrong based on the findings of the international body. But that is a process that we had to follow. So what I did was that I wrote this extensive letter. This was on the 26th of April 2024. Urgent, strictly confidential in national security, because it was that in national security we could not have made that decision known. Chief Justice of South Africa, Chief Justice Reyno Zondo. It was sent to the Registrar, Sibusiso Maposa. This was received. We've received actual acknowledgement that this document has been received. In this document, I've explained to him the position that I have to bring this to the attention of the Constitutional Court. It is our view that based on that decision, they cannot entertain the process or the decision. They cannot entertain the question whether Jacob Zuma may stand as a candidate, based on the fact that the African Commission is busy with this case. They've already made a finding that there's a prima facie case that the Constitutional Court violated Jacob Zuma's rights, and that they must pend that case pending the outcome of this matter. It must work basically what we've said, and we've subsequently put that in a formal application to the Constitutional Court, which they have as quickly as it came in, they've immediately dismissed it twice, on two occasions. When I've lodged it, they've kicked it out. I've lodged it again, and they've kicked it out. Nowhere in the judgment, as I'm going to show you, have they mentioned anything about this. Anything. They knew about this process, but they continue to say that it's got no bearing on their decision that that Jacob Zuma may not stand. So what effectively happened here is that I've then, because the IEC also knew about this, they were also informed about the existence of this decision. They also did not bother to say anything about the existence hereof. They just excluded it. They continued as if this never existed. They knew about this. The Constitutional Court knew about it. The legal teams knew about it, inclusive of Advocate Dali Mpofu, who appeared for Jacob Zuma. He was specifically said that he has to argue this and make sure that the essence of this is brought to the attention of the Constitutional Court. That also never happened. Sorry, I'm no friend of the legal fraternity. I do believe that Advocate Dali Mpofu has got a lot to answer to the MK Party's people. He has to explain to them what happened here, because Dali Mpofu was aware all the time about the existence, and he never pursued this for Jacob Zuma. He never pursued this for Jacob Zuma. On the 2nd of June, Sunday the 2nd of June, I was with Jacob Zuma that entire day. At that day, I informed him personally of what happened with his case and what transpired before the Constitutional Court. He was not aware of that. His legal team did not tell him about what I was doing, although they have been notified of what has happened and what process I was doing. So this does start to appear as if there might be people inside the NK Party who does not want Jacob Zuma to come clean. Dali Mpofu knows that I don't like him at all, so I don't care whatever he's got to say. The fact of the matter is, and it's not the first time, that Dali Mpofu knew about critical things with Jacob Zuma that I'm personally aware of and have the proof of that. And he did not tell Jacob Zuma, or he did not pursue Jacob Zuma's cases. My opinion is that Dali Mpofu is not capable of representing Jacob Zuma anymore. Because if things like this does not get into the open via him as the legal practitioner, head legal practitioner on those cases, and he elects to keep quiet and keep it also from the people of the MK Party, then he is the problem, and the MK Party has to address it directly with him. So what did I do? I did not just sit back and relax. I've opened a complaint against each and every one of the commissioners, the electoral commissioners. So that is where the other case came in, which subsequently, this is the complaint. Okay, that was this was the Constitutional Court case where he was. It was said that he cannot be a candidate, but there is the electoral court. They came out with this judgment on 6 November 2024, and when you read this, you will realize that the electoral court judges also put a major question mark on what really happened here. They, in fact, in some stage said that the outcome of the elections can at any time be pursued. Once there's enough information, it can be pursued. And they knew that this was a case whereby they could not have divulged the information. I had to send this to the court confidentially to also indicate that they cannot make the content known. It's privileged, and they must know that was their report that was before the Constitutional Court. That was their report, that the application and everything that was known by the IEC. And my opinion was actually that when the Electoral Commission, in that case, received my application to be admitted as amicus curiae, in that case, to inform the court about what was going on, They then again made a decision that it's not relevant to the people of South Africa, to the voters. So you as the voters were not allowed by the IEC, by the Constitutional Court, and even by people like the likes of Dalium Mpofu, not to know what was going on with his case before the African Commission. So in this paragraph, it's explained that the matter was there. It was heard on the 10th of May. Go and read this. I'll have the links. Go and read between the lines of what these three judges said, or the two judges and the one independent commissioner. It's confirmed that there was a process in paragraph 25, that there was a progress before the African Commission on Human People's Rights. And yeah, that was basically, and then here was in the letter, in the letter above others, very important here was that from the documents that were submitted by the Republic of South Africa, in those documents submitted to the African Union, to the African Commission, it was indicative that the idea behind the remission was basically to make a clean slate for Jacob Zuma, because they were attacking to say that it has become moot. He's not a criminal anymore. He's not going to jail. His human rights have effectively not been tampered with because of this entire process. So what is our case? That is what the government of South Africa, the Republic of South Africa, had to say. So I've showed that information to Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. He received it, he read it, but nowhere in that judgment can you find anything about this. So, people, what is it in for you? Firstly, I believe that because there was somehow a conspiracy between the state on the one hand, because obviously President Cyril Ramaphosa knew about this all along. He's part and parcel of the challenge before the African Union. So he did not inform you. The Electoral Commission did not inform you. The Constitutional Court did not inform you. MK voters, members, supporters, Dalium Mpofu did not tell you. As I've said, that on June the 2nd, Jacob Zuma did not know this. I told him for the first time that I have been blocked all around him to give him the information by the likes of Dalium Mpofu. Dalium Mpofu have been given this information and decided, oh no, even Jacob Zuma may not know what is going on with his own case. So the voters or the potential voters of MK, when they were struggling with it, should we vote for the MK, or should we vote for another party? And the pivotal point was the fact that, can Jacob Zuma, our hero, stand? If he cannot stand as potential president, why do I have to then vote for MK party? Now I'll rather vote for X, Y, or Z. So it had a definite impact on the votes for the MK party. The question is that there was this major issue with the voting and the allegations made by MK party specifically about the possible rigging of the votes. Yes, if you look at how the IEC, the Electoral Commission, the Constitutional Court, the state president, everyone sort of kept this information from US voters, they've decided, and let's not forget the all involved media, mainstream media. They also knew about what was going on, and they also decided it was irrelevant for you as the voters to know about this. So we are sitting with a major issue that all these things happened shortly before the elections. It had a tremendous impact on the elections. All the role players were involved. And our question is, given this information, can we still say that the elections of 2024 were valid and there was no rigging of it? as I can see it from my perspective, obviously, when you've got the likes of the President, the Constitutional Court, the mainstream media, the Electoral Commission, and even legal team of Jacob Zuma, all knowing about this, but they decide not to give this information out to the public, then we've got a major problem. The next step, we are busy, as I've said, with the merits. We finalized the submissions. It's very nice for me as I've been so criticized by people, and especially the legal fraternity, that I'm incompetent and I'm not a legal practitioner. Well, this lay person managed to fight the legal team of the entire Republic of South Africa before this commission, and I've succeeded for Jacob Zuma. It's something that people like Don and Paul cannot say much. I don't know of any major win that he got for Jacob Zuma over the past years. It was mostly losers, lost. But in any case, he's part of the legal fraternity who basically says that I'm incompetent. That because I don't have their diploma against the wall, I cannot do, or I cannot talk on the same level as they are doing, because they are members of the legal fraternity. So it's actually, when you've got a success story like this, where I've managed to get the African Commission on an international level to side with Jacob Zuma for the first time, that a major body did this for him, to stand up and say, okay, this cannot continue further. Jacob Zuma's rights have been violated, and let's deal with this. So yeah, I'm very much happy. I'm proud of what I've achieved, and the fight is not over. So keep track, and for all of you who crucify me because I'm representing Jacob Zuma, I think you just have to go and read the actual facts. I've published most of those documents on our website. It's there. You can read, you can follow what actually happens, and somewhat put the mainstream media story side to side and see whether it's actually similar. So let's see what's going to happen. The Commission is going to make its decision sometime later this year on the merits, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up. But people, please go and share this, and please support our work. The links are in the description. Godspeed until the next time.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.